Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're back with the Grand Sport, and I'm going to review the carbon fiber kits I got from C7 Carbon. They're at c7carbon.com. They also make kits for the C6, 7, and the 8, not just the 7th generation. So what I ended up getting was I replaced the side skirts, the wheel spats, and I got the C7R front splitter and winglets. Now I started making videos on these when I was doing the install as I got them, and I was having some installation problems and I was getting frustrated. So after I got them on the car, I just decided to review them all here, and I'll use some of the video that I took in the past to kind of show you what I'm talking about. So let's go ahead and get started. So one of the reasons I chose the carbon fiber parts was I had some things carbon fiber wrapped. I had my rear spoiler carbon fiber wrapped. I also have the halo bar carbon fiber wrapped. This car came with two tops. The other silver top is also carbon fiber wrapped to match this. But I left the silver spears here so that you can still get the surround for the window. This silver piece is actually a wrap on the acrylic top. I had the hood carbon fiber wrapped, the hood stripe, and I just thought that those pieces would set it off, and they look really, really good. I really enjoy them, even though that I had to modify them to get them to fit. Okay, well, the side skirts were probably the easiest, but I did a few modifications of my own. And so what we started out with is their side skirt goes from the front all the way to the rear. The factory GM one stops about here, and I think the full length looks a lot better. So if you're afraid of drilling holes into your car, these parts are not for you. However, it's not metal, and so it won't rust. So when you take the factory one off, you'll realize there's only a very thin lip, about 2 inches, that hold the factory ones on, and the rivet holes for those are very close to this edge. The C7 product has got a very, very wide base, probably 4 or 5 inches in some places, and it's very, very sturdy. It's very solid. So therefore, they don't utilize the same mounting holes for the rivets that GM does. They actually utilize 2 of the small screws at the front and 2 of the small screws at the rear. I got the sides on. I did these a couple months ago. That was a story in itself. I started to make a video on it, and I stopped because I had some dilemmas. It fits good, fits perfect, all the way back. The ends are flush, but I didn't like the way they wanted me to mount it. So I mean, you have to drill new holes. The factory side skirts have holes really close to the edge right here because the lip is only about that far that goes under it. This thing's this wide, and they got holes all across the bottom. What I did was I used 2 of the factory screws up here. There's one that I don't know what they expected you to do, take it out and leave it out, whatever, but there was a screw in the way. So what I did was I marked it and I drilled that hole, and I use that as an anchor point. So I don't have any rivets up here from the door forward. It's just factory screws holding it in, and then I put rivets to the back, and then there's 2 factory screws in the back. But what I ran into was when I took the factory one off, they had 2-sided tape along the seam right here to also help hold it in place. And with the mounting point and the holes for the rivets on the C7 part so far back, it fit and it was flush, but I was afraid that there might be some flexibility and trying to keep some of the dirt and crap out from in between the 2 pieces. So I got 1/8 inch double-sided 3M tape, and I put it along the edge. Well, as you can see, the factory skirt had dual-sided adhesive running down the length of it. Some of it had actually stuck onto the car there. So I'm going to run down and grab some 3M dual-sided ribbon tape and put that on the edge here, like the factory did. Well, I went ahead and got the 2-sided tape here, and I left enough on the ends to pull them. I'm going to go ahead and get this mounted with the screws in and with the some of the rivets in before I tighten them down and get it positioned to make sure that's in the right place, and it's not going to be sticking out. But I think it'll help secure a little bit better. One of the other things too that I found out was there's also a screw back here that I don't know if they didn't account for it, but you have to remove the screw in order for it to sit flush back here, but they didn't provide a hole for it. So I located where the hole was on the part, and then I was able to drill that out, and I was also able to utilize another one of the factory screws back here to hold this on. So let's go ahead and move on to the front. So the wheel spats were the next thing that I got, and they go on in the factory location, just like the stock ones. You have 3 screws here that you remove. There's 2 tabs here and here that have double-sided tape on them. And when you remove yours, make sure to clean that off really well with some type of adhesive cleaner and remover to make sure that all of the residue is off so the new ones go on properly. So they supplied their own screws, and these went on really well. So your front spats, these wheel arches here, these come off. You got 3 screws here, Torx bit here, and then you got a 7mm under here that also goes in the corner of the front air dam. And then on the back here is a clip. You can see that there, GM clip. Now over here, where it looks like it goes into the fender and a tab, it's not really a tab. What it is this. So it doesn't connect, you don't have to loosen the front fascia, you can just pull, and then there's 2-sided tape on the back that holds it on the inner fender well. Right up in here, make sure you get some solvent remover. I use 3M general purpose adhesive cleaner on a rag, and it'll take all that adhesive off. If you're doing the front splitter and the spats, these have to go on first because the winglets, I got the C7R winglets, they go here and they provide longer screws. These corner air dam pieces, these come off permanently and these go in its place. But what I wanted to show you is the factory spats have this tag here and it goes into a slot. And this went on perfect. It fits really great. I'm really pleased with the quality of the part. I used a heat gun on the back side with some leather gloves, and I pressed that on to make sure that tape went in. But without that tab, this little corner piece wiggled around a bit. So what I did was, got some 3M adhesive tape from Ace, and I ended up putting it right here on this corner, right here, so this doesn't shake. And now it is really, really well in there. That heat gun made it stick a lot better. And the problem that I came into was with the winglets. So with the spoiler off, the winglets fit perfect. And what they do is they utilize the same 3 screws that hold the spats on. So you put the spat on, you put the winglet over it, and you use those 3 screws and it holds both components on. Well, with the air dam off, the spats fit perfect. You'll notice here that mine sticks out a little bit from the edge, and I'll tell you why in a bit, but when they're on there utilizing the same hardware, this comes down to a nice angle, and this doesn't stick out. So when I went to put the front air dam on with the spats, it was too wide. So therefore, you can't utilize the locations of the stock hardware. The other problem too was, after I took the spats off and put the air dam on and tried it that way, the air dam fit perfect. So, but in addition to it being too wide, the air dam is also too thick because it doesn't allow it to come up where it needs to be either. So here's the dilemma. You know, these are hand-built parts. I ordered them in February. I got them last month. So 5-6 months it took for me to get them. They're several $1,000s. I think all 3 parts, the spats, the winglets, side skirts and air dam, you know, you're looking at $3,000 plus. It's not something that you can send back, and you can't cut them and grind them and modify them like bare fiberglass because they have a finished carbon fiber and clear coated surface. So what I ended up doing was I mounted the air dam, and I found out where the spats fit, bolted to the spoiler from underneath. And this is the natural position for them to lay once they're on the air dam and in the wheel well. I marked through the holes where they hit the spats, and I ended up drilling through the spats and riveted these on to the spats. They're probably a 1/4 inch out and a 1/4 inch lower than the factory holes. But again, I really wanted them. I could have left them off and just run the spats in the air dam, but I mean, that's the coolest part about the whole C7R or Z07 front air dam are the winglets. They also make the small winglets that don't attach to the spats. I could have chose those, but I like these better. But I really liked them. I wanted to use them. I don't think they look horribly bad. I'll show you from different angles. They fit the spoiler really good, the front air dam really good, and they're not too bad coming out of here. But I really wanted to use them, and you know, you got to do what you got to do. You either use them or you don't. So I didn't have to modify the car, didn't have to drill any holes in the car. I just ended up riveting them to the spats. So the front air dam fit really well, aside from the fact that it's a little too wide and a little too thick. This should actually be up here about a 1/4 inch. You can see right here where this sticks out, maybe 3/16. It's not bad, but the finish is good. The product is good. It's 2 layers of carbon fiber over a fiberglass piece. They 3D image these pieces, make them out of fiberglass, finish the fiberglass, and then lay the carbon fiber over the top. Gives it a good rigidity and flexibility with the fiberglass. The finish is incredible. I mean, there's got to be 10 coats of clear lacquer on the top of that. They look fantastic. I think it goes well with the rest of the carbon fiber wrap, and you know, I can live with the modification I had to make. So I hope you enjoyed that. I got a few other things coming out. A company called San Diego Designs sent me a box of their products to review. I'm going to be getting to that soon. I'm also have my son's Atomic Orange 2008 Z51. We're doing a bunch of things to that, and I have a video on the Terraflex 3.2 suspension upgrade coming out on his Jeep as well. So